With the death of Queen Elizabeth just a couple months ago and the transfer of power to the now King Charles III, the language of king and kingdom and reign has kind of become commonplace again today. We're familiar with it again. And I don't know if you saw it, but there was this video that went around of when the king was to address Westminster Hall for the very first time as king. Now, obviously, this was a grand affair, a very important function. And so there was this big royal procession, and the royal guards were there, all dressed in their finery. Everybody was dressed to the nines. They were being processed in this grand kind of opulent way. They were being played in by trumpets and horns and organs, and this was a grand thing. Somewhere along the way, somebody took that video and overlaid it with the tune for Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars. I don't know if you know that tune. Dum, dum, da dum, dum, da dum, dum, da dum, right? Obviously communicating that this king is akin to an evil emperor who is set on the enslavement of the world. Because that's often what we think about when we think about kingship. Or when we think about reign, we think about dominance, we think about oppressive control. We think about a king establishing their reign by expanding their borders, often at the expense of other people. And let's be honest, historically, that's what we've seen. That's what we've seen through the British colonies. That's what we've seen in the history of Canada. It's what we've seen in the history of the United States. And that's what we're seeing with the war on the Ukraine. And so the language of kingship, the language of power, the language of reign is often seen to be oppressive, to be dominant and domineering. And so when we arrive today, liturgically at the reign of Christ, Christ the King Sunday, it can feel a little off-putting. We might feel like we want to take a step back because in the eyes of the world, kingship and reign and power is about control. It is about showing you just how strong and mighty I actually am. But then we read the crucifixion this morning. We read the story of Jesus on the cross. And so in a dramatic way, we hear that Jesus is a different king, and his reign is a different reign. Instead of yelling judgments upon those who taunt him and crucify him, Jesus expresses prayer of love and forgiveness and even invitation. Today you will be with me in paradise. Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. Instead of a kingdom of selfishness and a reign of self-aggrandizement, Jesus rules in selflessness and self-giving. That's the reign of Jesus. That is what it means for Jesus to be king of our lives and in this world. And so the question that we have is, how do we follow that king? How do we participate in that rule? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about here at the cathedral this morning, and I want to invite you to join us. If you are in the Kamloops area, please come to St. Paul's Anglican Cathedral. We have two services this morning. We have one at 8 o'clock in our chapel and one at 10 o'clock here in the sanctuary. If you're not around today, if you're not able to get here, or if you're outside of the Kamloops area, then you can join us online. Just find us on Facebook, St. Paul's Cathedral. We go live on Facebook Live at 10 o'clock. But wherever you are and whatever you're facing today, may you know that the King of Love is with you and surrounds you. God bless you all.